Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Make sure you subscribe, guys, to all three channels. Evolutionary, have that little bell clicked. By the way, again, you could quick jump between channels right here, right on this right-hand side. You see there's quick links over to Heart's Home, quick link to EEARTS, also to Ko-Fi, Patreon, and also our website, Evolutionary Energy Arts, to learn more about us. And what makes us different was we are very different.
Indeed we are.
Mama says we're special.
Oh, I like that. That's nice.
It is. Absolutely. And here you see a video of the Patriot missile defense system in action last night in Kiev. And the comment here is the battery will have long since moved position. I saw something similar, though, from further away. Yeah, okay. Because, there are reports that this was destroyed last night as well. Here's photos of the Patriot missile system in action here. As they say, it's a game changer. And if we look to RT, Sputnik, and other sources, they're saying that it was basically destroyed by a hypersonic missile strike. And again, I think that's the key note is how much they've always stressed that these hypersonic missiles, you can't stop them. They're just too quick. And they've always stressed that China and Russia have them, and we're trying to catch up. It's all about, laying out the narrative, giving everybody the stories so they're not surprised. They're kind of expecting what comes next.
And what it reminds me of is we just did a video the other day, and there was one of those photos with all of these things up in the air. Almost maybe it was a situation like this. Somebody was just painting what they saw.
You mean you're talking about the medieval
Yes.
paintings, that show UFOs and aliens and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's fascinating too, because a lot of those photos or those paintings will depict clearly angelic beings flying around with their little wings on. Now, again, those are references to the Merkaba light body. And that's really what it's talking about. Again, so much distortion, of course. Well, that's the name of the game with the control system. Distort things, make things blurry. You don't want people understanding clearly what's happening. But yet also then you have people in vehicles.
Yes.
Clearly. So you have angelic beings, light beings, and people in vehicles it's just clear.
Indeed.
Pentagon has Iron Dome system ready to ship out to Ukraine now. They've acquired 2 Iron Dome batteries from Israel late 2020, sending one to Guam in 2021. To get a sense of how the system might perform against Chinese missiles. And so they're thinking about shipping one out to Ukraine. And meanwhile, we have Macron has confirmed that France will follow the UK's footsteps and quickly send its version of the Storm Shadow long-range missiles to Ukraine. In France, it's known as the Scalp, EG. So again, the escalation's going on. Doesn't really matter what you and I say. The leadership's not going to follow. It doesn't even matter if you got 75% of the population screaming and saying no more war. They're still going to do what they want to do. This is the big reveal. They don't work for the citizens of the world. They don't. The politicians do not work for you and I. It doesn't matter if we're talking about the US, UK, Russia, China. Unfortunately, it doesn't even matter if we're talking about Costa Rica and Ecuador and so many even smaller countries that many people are escaping to right now, in the hopes of finding a better place to hang out during WW3.
And I think it's so sad that so many people can say no more, and the controllers, no matter who it is, they're just going to keep plowing forward. And I guess that's where we need to learn to step back and find our own niche and do what we need to do for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for everybody out there, if there's anybody out there that's listening that's working for the CCP, you don't work for good guys. It's just a realization. Anybody out there that ever worked for the KGB, you don't either. For the CIA, you don't either. FBI, you don't either. MI6, we could go on. all these organizations around the globe, they just prey on humanity, and they're truly working for the, what we would call the elites, the controllers. It's the same families that go back thousands of years. I was sharing with you guys that I'm reading one of the older books I could find, relatively. It's from 1797. I thought it was from 1795, and it's called Proofs of a Conspiracy. Proofs, in the plural, of a conspiracy. And it's still available on Amazon, 1797 again. And it's really about the Masonic Lodge system, and especially in continental Europe, and also in our UK today, Britain, and England back in the day. Still, that's a confusing thing, for us that don't live in the UK, England, Britain. And I do understand the history, but still, we could refer to things as, one subset or one area or one particular phase as England, and then Britain, Great Britain, and then now the UK. It all doesn't really matter because, again, this is from 1797. And the author is talking about their experiences inside the lodges and how there's a lodge within a lodge. Now, we understand this. Again, you have to go to a certain degree to be let into the secrets of how things really, really run. And when we were talking about this yesterday, we ended up having a video just not work. So this is, again, the type of stuff they don't want you understanding. When you look at the symbol of masonry and you see, it's all about architecture, right? Stonemasons, work in a building, structure. It's the matrix that they're talking about. It's the matrix, and it's not the great architect of this universe that they're really referencing. It's the architects. The dark, demonic, satanic, we could use all these different words to describe the control structure. But this is what the reference is really to. It's about keeping humanity in the dark as to the real situation on planet Earth. Here you see, this is declassified CIA. CIA's Alan Dulles asked U.S. immigration to allow Lebed re-entry into U.S. despite murder conviction, and again, this was a top aide. This just shows you, and again, the OSS is the predecessor to the CIA. It was before it came in, and they were already in the U.S. recruiting top minds, top scientists, spies, again from NAZI Germany. And then, of course, so many people really have heard about and read about Operation Paperclip and taking all these people into the U.S. to become part of the power structure, and again, it's just, this is the way things work. And then they just move from one location to another. As we know, China, there was an article talking about how China wants the yuan to become the world's dominant currency, of course. Again, this is just a shift in the power structure. Then there's going to be a big reveal to just how corrupt the U.S. was, as if the new power structure is not going to be as corrupt. Of course, it's the same power structure. It's just morphing. Yeah, the horrible secrets of Operation Paperclip. Yeah, I mean, these are people that were involved in absolute crimes against humanity that got absolved of, what they had done and just assimilated. Because the power structure in place doesn't care about right and wrong. They just care about themselves. Again, every one of these alphabet soups, they're self-serving. They're totally self-serving. Ultimately, they're serving the power structure on the planet, which is not about humanity. The power structure is about keeping humanity, at least a portion of it, utilized as a slave and energy resource. This is the bottom line. And we've talked about that at length before in many, many videos, and we could, keep bringing it up again and go into in more detail again. You could also search. Other channels have done great work on exposing all this. You had Snowden talking about yes, the U.S. is run by NAZI aliens. Well, where did the NAZIs again get their philosophy from? Again, when you start looking at everything that's going on with the power structure, when you look at genetic manipulation, when you look at the UFO abduction phenomenon, and always looking at DNA, always taking DNA samples, always looking at levels of toxicity in humans, monitoring the planet. We're just one big petri dish. We're one big experiment to them. And then they, when it comes time and they find, again, you could look to the Anunnaki, Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian stories, as well as other stories from other cultures. When, they find that humanity is too irritating or uncontrollable, then they do a big SET. And that's where we are now.
And they're all about finding a means to an end. So once that stops working and we're all awake, well, that's when things can get a little bit hairy, but that's when you want to be self-sustaining.
Secret regime of extraterrestrial race called the Tall Whites, who used to be in cahoots with the Third Reich, is currently running the show in America. So says Iran, actually, of all people. And again, Iran's part of, they are going to be part of BRICS. They are part of, the China-Russia alliance. So, ultimately, it's running the whole show on the planet. That's the big, real reveal. They've been. So as you see all these headlines, Snowden docs reveal, yes, NAZI aliens rule the U.S. And what type of experiments were those doctors like Mengele doing? It was always these bizarre genetic experiments. Yeah, it's that was a ruse and a cover as far as, well, to a degree, creating the perfect RACE. It's the perfect sheeple is what it's really about. It's okay, here they are. They're listening in now. We got their attention. It's about creating the perfectly compliant human race to populate the planet and not give them any grief. That's basically it. Smiling lessons now available for people in Japan following 3 years of government recommendations that people wear masks. They have forgotten how to smile. That is just sad. And isn't it, I mean, even if that was a joke, which it's not, it's beyond pathetic.
Well, it would be a quick class. You could just tell them, turn that frown upside down, kids.
Yeah. Turn that frown upside down, Charlie Brown, right now.
Yep.
Absolutely, yeah. And, again, Japan is such a nation of compliance. Mm-hmm. These, again, are people that have been utilized and used and by the leadership to, go to war. We understand the history to a degree, World War II and all. Rural America dreams of secession in Eastern Oregon. We've talked about this before. Eastern Oregon wants to, ditch the rest of Oregon, join Idaho, or maybe even go it alone. What we need to do is get a section of the world and start in pockets to refuse to go along. This is the whole thing, to remove itself from this control system. In pockets at first, little pinpoints of light amongst this dark control system. We need to wake people up and they start looking for alternatives working outside of the system. That is the key. We need a secessionist movement for the entire globe. One that's peaceful and one that refuses to fight against each other.
It might seem impossible, but there's more and more people who are waking up to the reality, because it's their blood, sweat, and tears that is getting shipped over to a different place, and it's not even going to help those that are in our own country.
Yeah, we need to think. We do need to think globally. They'll tell you need to think globally, yeah, but again, they just want to control everything, which they already do, basically. And AI has given us a look at 10 American cities in 2050. The differences between what these pictures are, as you see, they're showing green, lush, completely urban landscape, and they're saying about 70% of the people are going to live in these big cities. And, again, rural America has been dying according to the numbers. As you look at Houston, this is Houston. This is supposed to be New York City. What's missing is the dome that goes over the top that encapsulates it from what we've gotten through remote viewing. There's DC. Look at a little orb flying around there. And this is what they envisioned Philadelphia looking like. And they're not really showing you the armed drones. Vertical farms in San Francisco, Chicago. So, of course, they want to glamorize it. They want you to, be a good little surf and look to the bright future, when you can, too, live in a beautiful place like that. Think more in terms of the sci-fi series The Colony, when all of a sudden these alien invaders come in. What do? They just simply lay down with technology that boggles people's minds these walls that are tremendously tall and block people off one side to another. They totally encapsulate people. And then there's drones everywhere for anybody that tries to get over a wall, get outside of where they've been put into and separated and segregated to. The drones just basically vaporize them. Now you're getting a little bit closer to the reality that is in mind for the globe with the plans of the smart cities. Yeah, now you're getting a little bit clearer representation. And of course, people are divided into different classes, and you have those that sell out humanity, no problem at all, for extra rations. And this is just something that we've seen through history.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it sad? And then those that do have a little bit of power are also being controlled. And those drones, they definitely do not ask questions. If they see someone out of that perimeter, well, they're going to do what they are programmed to do. They're not going to act out of the humanity part of themselves. And that's something to watch moving forward, is like who is going to follow all the rules and just do what they're told, and who is going to free their soul and do what they want to do to be a better human, to be a better person, to better yourself. It's that split that we have coming up that's not so easy to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. What this world system does is it takes the happiness away from us, or it tries to give us the idea that happiness is things and competition based, where you have to be better than the other guy in order to be happy. No, not at all. As we see, happiness, we could relearn being happy. It's just a matter of choice, and it's a matter of finding that inner child again. This should be every day. We should be having fun and playing every day. It should just be a natural thing for us. We're not slaves. We've been enslaved by beings, but we are not born to that. We are not born to serve by any means, and that should be apparent to anybody with any sort of insight.
And know that your light definitely touches other people, even if you're not looking. That little girl just skipped on by, and she has no idea the happiness that she transferred, and that's what you guys do too.
And look at Mama sleeping. It doesn't look so comfortable to me, but they look perfectly comfortable. Wow. Sleeping upside down. There's the baby on the belly. Amazing how nature is so full of just love and peace. And we could tap into that. We've been ostracized, taken away from our mother. You get it in your mainstream in the Abrahamic tradition too. It's not put out there. You don't see it in everyday verbiage, saying, feel the mother's embrace. The goddess energy is around you. No, that whole part of it, because they want us staying testosterone driven and warlike. This is why they take away that mother energy. Also, the mother heals. So disconnecting us from the earth itself, disconnecting us from that whole side of all that there is, taking away the yin leaves us so much yang that we will die quicker. We will be disconnected. We will be having a hard time feeling rooted and grounded. They understand all this.
It puts us in such a high state of stress, and it's that stress of, the grind, going to work day after day, 9 to 5, and staying in that place, not because you like it or you're comfortable, but because it gives you some type of security, and that's completely understandable. But that's not where your soul can grow, and eventually over time you get tired of, or you're not able to do, I call it white knuckling, just getting through one day to the next, with white knuckles and grinding your teeth. That brings on disease, dis-ease, and a lot of it.
In a world where you can be anything, be kind, and it would change overnight if everybody thought that way. And it will for at least some, because, there's going to be a large part that will not be able to go along with the system anymore, will become completely allergic to the system, to the point where they just have to unplug from the system. This is part of the natural splitting of the energies.
And, love and kindness and compassion, that is the fastest way through this evolution. And that's why you keep hearing it in so many circles, is have compassion, have love. And that's what helps get us through this part of the energies that are so, so difficult for so many people. It's that compassion will help pull us through faster.
Yes, absolutely. So may your life be compassion-filled, and may you be a shining example of that. Thanks for being part of this family. As always, guys, God bless and namaste.
Namaste.